Hi everyone, I am JT Pilot, and today I'll be making another my airplane review. This time I'm reviewing this Gemini Jets Air Canada Express Bombardier CRJ900. This aircraft is operated by Jazz Aviation. Yeah, so yesterday, actually the day before yesterday, I received the latest Gemini Jets April 2022 releases, including this great model, and yes, I'm actually quite impressed about this Gemini Jets model, unlike that JetBlue A321LR. So yes, this is a great Gemini Jets model, and yeah, so this model has been a long-waited model for me, just because I've always wanted another Air Canada Express model, and I really have been needing some Air Canadas. My Air Canada collection is lacking. I only have the A220, the Embraer 175, the Air Canada Rouge A321, and now this model. So yeah, my Air Canada collection has been lacking, so I'm just glad that I picked up this model to add to that collection. And these CRJ900s are starting to fly to the United States more, just because the pandemic starting to weaken just a little bit. So Air Canada is sending more CRJ900s to the United States. So that's why I picked this model up. And yeah, so this is a Gemini Jets re-release. They released this aircraft back around in the 2017 timeframe. And now they re-released this aircraft in 2022 at the April 2022 release set. And this model is actually really good. So Gemini Jets have solved most of their CRJ-900 issues that the previous CRJ-900s have, like the Delta one. And including the landing gear, the stabilizers, it's all perfect. And the livery is perfect on this model. So a great job by Gemini Jets. I am quite impressed by Gemini Jets on this model. So I am super excited to use this model in my airports. And this is definitely one of my favorite Gemini Jets regional models. So in case you're new to my reviews, this is how I do reviews. I reviewed a box of this model, then I reviewed the model itself. Then at the end of the video, I'll be scoring this model with the JT score, and hint, this model actually did really well for Gemini Jets model. So nonetheless, let's start off with the box of this model. Alright, so moving on to the box of this beautiful Gemini Jets model. So here we have the box of this model. This is your average Gemini Jets regional box. This is quite a tiny box. So starting with the top left of the box, so here we have the Gemini Jets logo, looking quite amazing. Here, made for collectors by collectors. Here we have the computer-generated image for this aircraft, looking quite beautiful. Here are the Bombardier CRJ900 tiles, and here are the Air Canada tiles on the bottom right. So proceeding on into the flap of this model. So here at the top of the flap, we have some information about this aircraft. Feel free to pause here if you'd like to read and learn more information about this aircraft. Here are some specifications about this aircraft, and they are indeed correct, unlike the JetBlue, so that's great. And here are the inside of the flap, looking quite amazing. So here we have the bottom of this model. Here we have the right side mounted computer image. Here the top model, the item number right there. And the barcode, of course. Here the left side of the box, not the model. And here we have the back box. Excuse this box being dented as this because of shipping. Here we have the top of the box, the computer generated image of the aircraft taken off, looking quite amazing. Here, as real as it gets, features right there. Here are Gemini Jets false guarantees. Here are highly collectible, superior quality, realistic metal landing gear. Keeps up putting graphics and as real as it gets features. These are a little bit more true of this model, but not still all the way true, but there you go. And here I have Gemini social medias. I highly recommend checking out their Instagram just because they have a lot of release announcements on there. And yeah, they have all sorts of things on their Instagram, and I highly recommend checking out their website as well to learn more information about upcoming releases. And here the Air Canada license right there, So there's a trademark right there. And here the Gemini Jets 2022 copyright right there, and that is looking quite amazing. So that's it for the box of this model. Let's move on to the part you care about in this video, the model itself. Alright, so proceeding on to the nose of this beautiful Gemini Jets model. So starting with the nose cone, so here the nose cone right there, looking great. Here are the cockpit windows with the beautiful raccoon mask cockpit windows. Those are looking great, great shape and everything. Gemini Jets has really nailed the nose on this model, unlike that JetBlue A321LR. Here are the nose landing gear, which is looking great. Could use a little bit more detailing, but other than that, it's looking pretty good. Here I have operated by Jazz tiles right there, little tiny tiles. Here are the L1 door. Here are the star lines looking quite amazing. Here are the Air Canada Express tiles. Those are looking great, great font and everything. And Gemini Jets really nailed the Air Canada livery on this model. I actually really like the Air Canada livery. It's a great balance of the black and white colors, and yeah, it's a really good livery, and it does represent Canada really, really well. So here are the emergency escape doors, and then here are the emergency escape paths on the wing. And here are the wings of the model. The wings are perfectly level and everything. Absolutely no wing flex. That is just perfect. And then here are the slanted winglets. Those are also realistic as well. And then proceeding on to the back of the aircraft, here are the registration. This aircraft's registered Charlie Golf Juliet Alpha November. And yes, this registration is pretty similar to my name, which is Jackson. So it's pretty cool how Gemini just chose its registration. I'm sure it's not because of that, but it's really cool. This is kind of the initials of my first name. So there you go. And here the Canadian flag right there, looking file amazing. And this aircraft is indeed registered in Canada. This aircraft did start its life, I believe, with Delta, and then they transferred over to Air Canada. So that's pretty cool. This aircraft has had a long history. This is one of Bombardier's older CRJ900 aircraft. And here we have the tail of this model with the beautiful Air Canada maple leaf right there, looking file amazing. And here the CF34 engines. Those are also looking great. So that's it for the left side of the aircraft. Let's move on to the top of this model. All right, so move on to the top portion of this aircraft. There's not really much up here. So here we have the top nose looking quite amazing. You can see the windshield wipers. Here we have the beacon light. No 3D beacon lights or any aerials of that matter on this model, which is pretty unfortunate. I wish Gemini would include 3D aerials on their CRJs. JC Wings does have aerials on their CRJ, so that's pretty unfortunate. Yeah, unfortunately, Gemini doesn't have those. So here we have the red beacon light. Here we have a couple of white circles. That is where some antennas would be. And then proceeding on to the top tail. So here's the top tail. So not really much on the top of the aircraft. So let's move on to the back of the aircraft. All right, so moving on to the back of the aircraft. So here's the back of the aircraft, and here's the back view of the aircraft. Here are the vertical stabilizers and horizontal stabilizers. Unlike Gemini's previous CRJ900s, these are perfectly angled in a line. So great job by Gemini Jets. And yeah, not much else to say for the back of this model. Let's move on to the bottom of this model. All right, so moving on to the bottom of this model with my very large hands. Yeah, that's how you can tell how small this model is. So here the bottom of the tail looking quite amazing. Here the AP looking great. Here we have the Gemini Jets logo right there. Here we have the wing landing gear. These are perfectly separated, and yeah, Gemini Jets finally fixed that issue, so that's great. That's looking great. So here the stand hold. Here the maple leaf right there, looking quite amazing. Here's some more white circles where antennas would be. And here we have the nose landing gear right there, looking quite amazing. So that's it for the nose of this model. The bottom of this model. Let's move on to the front of the model. All right, so moving on to the front of this model. So here the beautiful CRJ900 nose, looking file amazing. And the front of this model really looks good. The landing gear looks good, and everything is perfect on this regard. So, and the engines have perfect. The engines are detailed pretty well. Not really too good, but they're fairly detailed. So that's it for the front of this model. Let's move on to the right side of the model. All right, so moving on to the right side of this model aircraft. This is basically the same deal the side I reviewed, and yeah, not really much else is different on the side. Besides there's no baggage hold on the side. The baggage hold was on the left side of this model. So yeah, so that is it for this model aircraft review. Now let's move on to the scoring of this model. All right, so that does conclude this model aircraft review. Now let's move on to the scoring of this model. So this scoring uses the JT score, which is my highly accredited score for reviewing these 1.4 models. And I cover about every basic aspect of this model. And yeah, so on the first scoring, and all these scores are out of 10, by the way, except for 2 of them. So on the first score is the fuselage of this model. So the fuselage will be receiving a 10 out of 10 on this model, perfectly shaped and everything. Great job by Gemini Jets. Moving on to the next category, which is the nose of this model. So the nose of this model is perfect, nothing wrong with it, perfect shape and everything, and great details on the nose as well. So for the nose, they're receiving a 10 out of 10. Moving on to the next category, which is the wings of this model. So the wings are perfectly leveled and detailed, so those will be receiving a 10 out of 10 on this model. So moving on to the next category, which is the landing gears of this model. The landing gears are really good on this model. They roll, they're perfectly well spaced. They could use a slightly little bit more detail, but over than that, they are pretty good. So for the landing gears, they're receiving a 9 out of 10. Moving on to the next category, which is the engines on this model. The engines are pretty good on this model. They could use just a little bit more detailing, but other than that, they're pretty good. So the engines will be receiving an 8 out of 10. Moving on to the livery on this model. Is this file beautiful? The livery is just perfect colors and everything. It is highly accurate. So that is a great effort by Gemini Jets. So they'll be receiving a 10 out of 10 for that. The details on this model will also be receiving a 10 out of 10. Gemini Jets really nailed the details on this model. They really have included some really tiny details, which is a great yeah, they perform a great effort for that. Sorry about that sounding weird. Moving on to the next category, which is the aerials on this model. They're basically non-existent on this model, which is pretty unfortunate. So Gemini Jets will just be receiving a 7 out of 10. This score, I don't want to make the score any lower just because it's a little bit harder to include 3D aerials on these tiny models. So yeah. Moving on to the next category, which is the quality control. Great QC on this model. That is just amazing. Gemini Jets really nailed the QC on this model. It's about time we get a good generous regional model with good QC. So that's great effort by Gemini Jets. So they're receiving a 5 out of 5 for quality control and collectability. This model will be receiving a 5 out of 5. This is a highly in-demand regional jet in the United States and in Canada, so many collectors will enjoy this model. So for the final score on this model, the final score for this model is a 94 out of 100, or a 94%. So Gemini Jets did really do a great job on this model, and I can't wait to include this model in my airport updates. And yeah, I'm glad to have another CRJ900 in my collection. I'm glad to have a CRJ900 that is pretty accurate and that's not messed up like my other two. So, yeah, so that, folks, does conclude this model aircraft review. I am JT Pilot, and have a wonderful day.